Alright, morning guys. What I want to do to start things off is I just want to go over a very basic introduction to um, the Cartesian plane and how everything with that works. If you feel like you already know most of this stuff, feel free to skip through this. You don't have to watch the whole video, but I'm going to be explaining how all this stuff all works together. Okay, so let's start with the Cartesian plane, which is this cross. All right. You can see it's got a whole bunch of numbers labeled on it, and it's got a whole lot of little like dash marks and some arrows, and I'm going to explain what all those things mean. So firstly, this word axis, right? Axis refers to these two lines, okay? And there are two axes, I guess. That's the plural of axis. There are two of them. There's a vertical one, there's a horizontal one. Now, my lights. Check out for a second. There you go. Okay, that's better. So there are two axes. There is the vertical one, which is labeled as the y-axis, and there's a horizontal one, which is the x-axis. All right. I wish there was a better way, an easy way to remember it, but that's all I got, unfortunately. X is horizontal, or cross. Cross is kind of like an X. Y is a vertical. All right. And basically, what this means is, in some linear equations, these are the values of X, and these are the values of Y, and we're sort of graphing where these two things meet. So at any point, um, let's say where X equals 2, Y could equal something. That's the idea. This one's pretty blank at the moment. Okay. Now, one of the most important points you need to learn is called the origin point. It's this point right here where they cross, right? And the values of this point are where X is equal to 0 and Y is also equal to 0. Right? It's a very important point, and a lot of graphs will have a line that cross through the origin. So an origin is 0, 0, when neither X or Y have any value. Now these arrows, you might be wondering what these arrows mean. These arrows are basically a visual representation to say that even though I only have the numbers 2, 4, 6, 8 here, this actually will go on for infinitely. It will go on significantly further than I could ever draw on a piece of paper. Right? This is saying that it's not just 2, 4, 6, 8, it's 10, 12, 14, 16, 20, all that. Right? Same with the X. These will go on horizontal. If I was going to draw the whole thing all the way to infinity, I would need a lot of paper to write this whole axis down in both directions. So we're saying even though this is negative 8 to 12, there are actually significantly more numbers either side. Now scale. Now scale, see these little tick marks here? Scale is referring to what are we counting by to go up a tick mark? Right, so in this case, I've chosen 2 as a demonstration, but this could be 1, so it could be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 if you want to. It could be 3s, 3, 6, 9, whatever you want, but it has to be consistent is the key. So I've chosen 2s, so each one goes up 2, 4, 6, 8, it goes up 2. Same with my horizontal. Technically, your horizontal and your vertical can be different scales if you want to, but it's best to keep it consistent. All right, that's scale. Now there are 4 quadrants which are split up by these two axes. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, right? And they're just the little squares they're the squares that are made out of these two things crossing. Now, when you're referring to a point, right? You can see I put a few points on here. There's A, B, C, D, and E, and F, right? When you're referring to a point, in brackets, you want to write where it fits in with the X, or its X position, right? So it might be, I don't know, 3, comma, and then where it fits in with the Y. So its Y position, which could be 4, for example. Right? I'll do an example of a couple so you can get the idea of how it works. So let's have a look at point A, which is this point right here. Right? Point A. Now I want to find where it fits in with the X first. So Best if I did this with a ruler, but I'm not sure if I have one. I do. I do have a ruler, right? And I'm not using it to draw a straight line. I'm using it to check where does my point fit in with the x-axis, right? See here, if I were to draw a line down here, it crosses the axis at this little tick mark, right? And we have a little number there that says that this tick mark is -2. So this point is -2 for x, comma, and let's see where it fits in for y. Well, it fits in at +6. So I would write +6. Therefore, point A is at the coordinate -2 and 6. -2, 6, where those two meet. Let's try another one. Let's try B. Okay, my B is at x first, +4, then y, +2. Right? Get the idea of how this works. I'll do up to D and you can do the last two yourself. Alright, so C, we have in line here, we have +4 for x. For y, we have -6. For D, now I like this point here because it's not, if you look at my ruler, that's like halfway down between the tick marks for both of these. It's like, okay, if the tick mark is 2 and I'm going half of that way, what's the value of this point? Well, it is safe to assume that this here would line up with -1, right? Because it's halfway to 2. Same with this side. Halfway to 2, that would also be -1. So it's safe to assume that if it's between 0 and -2, that it would be -1. Same way if it was between 4 and 6, it would be 5, or 6 and 8, it would be 7. Right? It's halfway. So in this case, our x is -1, and our y is -1. Interesting. Okay. Now I want you to pause the video and have a shot at solving for E and F if you can. So I'll give you a second. Okay. Assuming that you've paused the video and had a go, just quickly go through these two, and then that way we can see if you got the right answers. Alright, so E should have had x is 12, y is 8. And F should have had x is -8, and y is, well, y matches up when there's nothing there. So how would I figure out what that is? Well, from the tick mark you can see that it would be roughly 8, right? It's another 2 below this. So we should have got -8 and -8. You did that, good job. Now let's have a quick shot at plotting points because that's somewhat similar. I'll do the first one, and you can have a shot at plotting the next one. So I've got +2 and 4. I'm going to go down where x is +2, right, which is here. I'm going to go to where y is 4, which is there. Right, so 2, 4 is going to meet right there, and that's going to be my point G. Alright, so I want you to pause the video and have a shot at plotting these last 2 points, -4 and 4, and 10 and -2. Okay, assuming that you've paused this video, if I'm going to x is -4 and y is -4, that would go here for h. And for I have x equals 10, y equals -2, that would go there. Right, at 10 and -2. That would be I. And that's the idea of how all this works. I hope that you found this useful. Thanks guys, enjoy the rest of your day.